So, most of us know that the origins of racism and the original intent behind it was to dehumanize people for the purpose of creating a socioeconomic hierarchy based on color or race so that white people could utilize the free labor of Black people for centuries to come. But after chattel slavery was made illegal and we went through the Jim Crow era and the civil rights movement, I think that the main root of the racism that white people continue to display to this day is jealousy. It's just an astronomical, abominable level of jealousy when it comes to our determination, our strength, our talent, our beauty, our ability to create an entirely different culture when ours was stolen from us. I can go on for days. And at the end of this long rope of jealousy, there's this fear, this bone-chilling fear that if Black people were to ever gain any type of equity in this country or somehow even become more socioeconomically powerful than white people, that we would oppress them in the same way that they have oppressed us. But what they aren't understanding, and I've been really trying to find a nice way of saying this. Yeah, I couldn't find a nice way of saying it, so I'm just going to come out and say it. We have studied the material and have decided that there is no need to sabotage, discriminate against, or oppress you. We have studied the material and have decided that we can win the race just fine without having to tie your shoelaces together. We have studied the material and we have decided that you are simply not a threat to our success. Y'all can rest easy because we have studied the material and there is simply no need. And if I were them, I would start thinking long and hard about the message that I am sending Black people by continuing to oppress them centuries later.
One thing people need to understand about racism is that racism is not logical. It's not supposed to be logical. Racism is highly illogical, and it's all about power, right? It's about power. So for example, if somebody wants to feel powerful than you, their job is to hold on to racist beliefs that puts them above you. That's it. It's not about logic. That's why, for example, every racist trope, you can debunk it, but they still hold on to it because it's not about is it true or not. It's about power. I am better than you because of this thing that has been proven wrong, but I'm going to hold on to it because it validates my need to feel power. That is why, for example, if you look at states like America, right? Some of the most poorest people that typically vote against their interests tend to be poor. They could be poor, they could be homeless, they could be in poverty, but they will never let go of racism because it makes them feel powerful. It makes them feel strong. It makes them feel better than you. So that is why they typically hold on to these beliefs, right? Despite the fact that it's been proven false over and over again, they're still going to hold on to it because it validates them, you know? So it's not so much about, oh my God, is it true or false? It's more about, I feel better than you, I feel superior to you, and that's it. So racism is not about logic. It's all about feeling power, especially if the person has less power in their lives, for example. They're going to hold on to it because it makes them feel powerful. That's all it is. And I hope it makes sense, man. Peace out.
Hello, lovelies. Welcome back to today's episode. It's high time. People need to stop and understand that there is no any way you will always do something and come after Black people to blame of each and everything happening in America. This time around, people need to stop all these things. You think that Black people are a small minority. They always they are humbly see you do whatever you want on them. No, people need to do better because people this time around, each and everyone is awake. They know their history. They know what is good and bad for them. They will not let you keep doing all these things. Guys, let's get to hear these people, the way they are trying to say each and every time Black people are the one to be blamed on each and everything. Stay tuned. Then we'll come back with more commentary.
Trump has repeatedly called out white supremacists and racists. Now, I'm not going to play dumb. There are a lot of racists now that feel bold because he's in office. Or, back in 2016 when he first came in office, there's a lot of racists that are feeling emboldened and feel like they can say anything now. And legally they can. But that does not mean that they're free from consequences. So I'm not going to play dumb. But here's the thing: the same way Trump has supporters that are racist, I have followers that are racist, and I didn't even realize that. A lot of my racist comments were coming from my followers, and I removed them. So I can't help if racist people follow me. But when I see it, it's my job to call it out. And Trump has called it out plenty of times. But that doesn't mean that Trump is racist. It just means some racist people support him. Hell, some racist people support me. But I don't condone that. I don't want racist people following me. And if I find it, they're getting blocked immediately. Trump has repeatedly called out white supremacists and racists. Now, I'm not going to play dumb.
Hey, quick question. Why is Donald Trump pressuring the Smithsonian Institute to close the African American History Museum? Why is Donald Trump's Department of Defense going through the entire history of the United States military and labeling anything involving black folk, brown folk, native and indigenous people, women as DEI? Why did Donald Trump label anything involving to be DEI? The defense of Donald Trump being a racist, or the argument against Donald Trump being a racist, is just stupid at this point. At this point, you're just saying it just to be saying it. As if motherfuckers ain't got no eyes to see or ears to hear. I wear glasses. That means I got four eyes. 2 sets of eyes, and even I can see it. Why is that? Why is it when people like yourself speak, it's always about how non-racist Donald Trump and people like Donald Trump are not? Why do you think that is? How come y'all never talk about anything economically? You ever notice that? Here you are doing free work to try to defend on whether or not Donald Trump is or isn't a racist. I mean, at this point, come on. You're not even getting an internship for this shit. You're just doing it. And while you're sitting here making this video, while you're sitting here saying this, he's literally shutting anything down that has anything to do with diversity, equity, or inclusion. Why does he have an entire news network that seems to believe that over the past 4 years, that somehow a bunch of, people who don't deserve it got a bunch of stuff that they really did earn? Can you answer those questions for me? Because at this point, I'm just asking y'all a series of questions like, how you gonna tell us some shit we can all see? How many more times down this rabbit hole are people such as yourself, blaggers, or Coonesians as I call you, going to sit out and carry water for a man that don't know you, wouldn't know you, don't know your name, and yet for some reason you're sitting here defending his lack of racism when we can all fucking see it? Isn't that odd? Isn't that odd? It is people like yourself. And you know what? I'm not even going to say people just like yourself. I'm going to say all of the entire Make America Great Again movement. You are fans. And not fans as in, oh, wow, I'm a fan of this, that, and the third. No. Fans as described by Kendrick Lamar in Not Like Us. You a fan. You a fan. You a fan. He's a racist ass God. You a fan. You a fan. You a fan. Fanatic ass. He's a freaky ass. Come on now. I mean, you probably haven't heard the song, You Florida Girl. But I'm genuinely curious. So If Donald Trump isn't racist and has denied and put down white supremacists, as you say, so why is he doing racist shit? I ain't talking about back in the day. I don't even have to talk about back in the day. I don't. There's a whole exposition full of examples of him being racist in the past. No. I'm talking about in the past 100 days. Why is his Secretary of Defense, his chief advisor, Stephen Miller, his vice president, and he himself, why are they doing all these things to erase any sort of semblance that this country has a really racist past? Why are you out here carrying water for him? You ever stop and look and see what's in that bucket? I'm asking questions. Educational purposes only and all that other shit.
The entire system is broke. It doesn't need to be fixed. It needs to be replaced. The systems that have been in place for this country are anti-nature. They are anti our human existence. And you can see this in every level of existence in this country. Why the fuck is there millions of empty homes in this country and millions of homeless people? We live in a country where things are getting more expensive and families and just regular households have a hard time getting groceries and getting food in the fridge and in the household. And there are businesses and restaurants that throw away pounds and pounds and pounds of food every night. In fact, I'm pretty sure if you Google it, you would see that America wastes more food than any other country on the planet. Yet there are people and kids in this country that go to bed hungry and starving. Why? Most hardworking, tax-paying citizens in this country cannot even afford to die. All the expenses that come with the funeral and whatnot, most people can't even afford to die. Like most of us, when we die, that bill is being left to somebody else. Despite the fact that you've been working hard your whole life and paying into a system and you're a tax-paying citizen, who cares about any of that? You still can't even afford to die. Water falls out the sky for free. And if I decide to put a bucket outside or a bunch of buckets and catch all this rainwater and clean it myself, eventually I will go to jail because it is against the law to harvest rainwater. It's crazy because when you're a kid, they tell you, stay off the games, stay off the electronics, go to school and get an education. And then you go to school and get an education so you can get a good job because you want to be a grown-up, not playing with games on electronics. And then you find out at your job, you're replaced by games and electronics. You are replaced by a robot. That shit don't make any sense. If you were to go around the globe and tally up all the world's resources, I'm pretty confident there are more than enough resources for every single human being on this planet to live a peaceful, decent, safe, secure life. There is enough for everybody here. Yet 99% people on this planet don't have much of shit. And we work extra overtime, extra overtime, extra overtime, just to still barely put food on the fridge and halfway pay the past due balance on the late bill. It just don't make no sense. It doesn't really matter which way you look at it, which angle you come at it with. This system that exists in America is anti-human life. It is anti-nature, and we see it. We finally see it. Some of us have seen it for a long time, but most of you motherfuckers are seeing it now. And the more you think about it, and the more you look at it, the more you realize the system, it can't be fixed. You can't change a few things here and there. You can't change this law, adjust that law, amend that. No. This entire structure was based on a system of white supremacy. And when you look at the root of how this thing was born and where it's grown and where it came from, and we see how this little seed has grown into this fucking unicron of a disaster. And if you don't know what a unicron is, it's that shit from Transformers, that big ass fucking planet that eats other planets. That's a unicron. It's that fucking thing that destroys everything in its path. That's what the system of white supremacy is. And that is what you see. That is the problem. That is the anti-nature part of this whole thing. So I say, If you want to make a better world for all people, if you want to make a better place for all of us to live, you can't just change one tiny part of the system. The whole thing needs to be changed. The whole thing needs to be rebuilt from the ground up. And this process of building, this process of recreating a new system should involve all people, should involve everybody in the room. Does that make sense? That's the only way that I think a new system can be born. All right, look, it should be no surprise that there is an overall silence coming from the black community. Literally, America is crumbling to pieces, and you have barely heard a peep from black people. And I actually find it extremely surprising that people actually expect black people to feel sorry or feel some type of sympathy for the downfall of America. After everything that America has put us through, do you really think that we're all in silence sitting back thinking about now we can fix this shit and we can bring things back to the way they were? No and no. We do not want things to go back to the way they were. And you know what's crazy? I think a lot of people mistake this silence that's coming from the black community as a lack of awareness, as if maybe we don't know what's going on. You might see us dancing and having fun and playing around and shit still, and you might think, these niggas just don't take shit seriously. But I'll tell you what, at a certain point, niggas will stop dancing, niggas will stop singing, niggas will stop going along to get along. But we know America far too well. And we know that there's far too many traps, there's far too many booby traps, there's far too many things put in place that are meant to capture us, to catch us, to stop our forward progress. We know that most of our attempts at protest and revolution, they get quenched before they even really get started. So we just chilling, sitting back waiting. But you'll be a fool if you think that silence is a lack of awareness. And you know what? I really think that some of these people, I don't think what scares them the most is losing all that money and losing the access to certain privileges and whatnot. Of course that matters, but I think what really scares some of these people is that at a certain point of the degradation of this society, black people and other melanated peoples will feel this relief and sense that, hey, big brother's not right over my shoulder. Hey, I got a little room to groom now. And once the system starts to lose control and the people start to gain control, I think America will see a whole other side of black people that they thought didn't exist, that they thought maybe we got over. But I tell you what, there is an undeniable, unceasing fire, a burning rage, an endless series of traumatic energy that has built up over the years and generations and generations. And I think the biggest fear is that one day that all that energy is going to be released back into the world. All that trauma, all that pain, all that exploitation, all those deeds that was done in the dark that maybe they thought they got away with, we have not forgotten. And I think the biggest fear is that, they're going to realize that we've been wearing a mask this whole time. So we've had to pretend to get along so we can have a job, or we can do our things in society and whatever in this world, to function in this world. But we never forgot the pain. We never forgot the trauma, and we never forgot what America has done to us. So fuck no, I don't feel sorry or sympathy for what's happening to this place. And I just think that whenever the next time black people move collectively, the next time you see us do some shit, it's gonna be a power move like you ain't never seen before. Because the move is going to be energized by generations and generations of built up traumatic energy and rage and all this frustration that we've experienced here in this country. And once we ain't got nothing left to lose or nothing left to gain, what do you think's about to happen? So all I can say is, don't take that silence coming from the black community right now as a lack of awareness. We know what's going on. We're just waiting on our time to shine. All right, look.
When you talk about racism right now and each and everything happening in America and the way black people are still passing all this through hardship here and there. When you try to connect the dot, how each and everything happened in the past on their ancestors, and the way this time around, since this new administration came back in the office, they are still looking at them, they are still blaming at them on each and everything. Whatever happened, they are saying it's you. Whatever comes out, they say, go and check black people, go and ask them what is really happening. Till even after Charlie Cook passed, they always came out in a black courage to try to show them that they are nothing. They are connected to the sorrow they are passing through because of Charlie Cook's passing. I don't understand when all these things will stop. How come you always sitting there seeing black people as a problem? If you think these people, they have a problem or you have problem on them, you should go maybe ask God why these people are staying on American land. Why God allowed them to stay here? Why they belong here? Because you can't tell how you will always looking in the mirror saying, if I'm passing through a lot, black people are the problems. If someone unalive someone, black people are the problems. Imagine if you have a good heart. Do you think what you've been doing is something good? Do you think people are going to still sitting and see you doing all these sort of things on them? Do you think when we are talking about black history, does that mean anything to you? This a new generation. Each and everyone is about to know what really happened in the past. People are trying to come out doing all this sort of videos, sharing all this kind of history, black history, so that this new generation, they will know better about their history. And you are just there thinking that from decades to decades, you will still keep threatening them, treat them the same way. You will still always saying you want to blame them. No, there is no any way. Imagine, you remember that white men saying, white men fight back, white men fight back. Fight for who? Fight for how? Fight for what? If this MAGA influencer came out to lose his life, and they claim that it's a white teenager guy who unalived him, and was saying white men fight. What are you saying? What are you trying to say? I don't understand why till that. Some people, they don't have that comfort. They always try to say, let's try our best to do segregation, to bring martial law. If you really think that you don't need black people in America, you remember those white honored towns? Maybe you may consider to do a lot of those sundown towns, because I can't understand why till that we are still having people provoking black people here and there. They are provoking here and there. They are causing a lot of quarrels here and there. You go in a restaurant, people, they will look away to disturb you, to annoy you. Just try to imagine. And yet you are saying we need to come back together. You see this new administration, what is doing? You need to come out and protest together. We rise up our voice together. There is no any way black people has even ever think to retaliate after all they pass through. There is no any way black people has been there saying we will never forgive all who did all these things to us. They always say we need peace. We need peace of mind. You need to let us enjoy our land. What are you saying? Why you always having discomfort whenever you see us around your place? Why? Why all these things are keep happening from 1 year to 10 years? Why we don't see any change? And you, in your space, you are saying there is no any way these people, they will enjoy to stay here. There is no any way we will guarantee them all those rights, all opportunities, because these people, we know who they are. We know what they are capable of doing. We know very well. We know their identity. We know their original. If you already know their original, what would you change about it? Because if you came out with the idea to create them, It's not their fault. Why would you dislike someone because of the way he is? And he didn't have any share to create himself. Imagine, guys. Let me know what you think today's episode. Drop your opinion in the comment section. Thank you. See you in my next episode.